For many veterans, the VA loan is the key to home ownership. These loans offer no PMI, no down payment, and very lenient credit scoring requirements. However, the last few years have been a little bit of a challenge. So what can you do as a veteran to overcome some of these challenges? Number one, demand for homes. So contrary to belief and contrary to what you may have heard in the media, the demand for housing is still pretty strong. It is definitely not like 2022. However, the demand is still there, which actually leads me to challenge number two, which is low inventory of homes. So there is a shortage of homes in the market right now. Why? A lot of people that own homes that have these lower interest rates, that bought a home more than say 2 years ago, they don't want to trade their low interest rate for a higher one. So guess what? They're sitting still. They are not putting their homes on the market like they normally would because they don't want to trade off that low interest rate for the higher one. So what does that mean for you as a veteran looking to own a home? You've got the demand that's still there. It's not crazy 2022 demand, but it's still there. You also have low inventory because sellers don't want to give up their low interest rates right now. They don't want to do it. So if they were planning to make a move, a lot of these sellers would say, you know what? I'm going to sit still, because they don't want to get that higher interest rate, which now means the amount of inventory in most markets is going to still be low. I know this may be counterintuitive and maybe contradictory to what you've heard, but I can tell you in some markets around the country, I don't know where you're located. As a matter of fact, let me know in the comments, where are you located and what is the inventory like? Because there are some places around the country where the inventory is still very much higher than the actual demand. In certain markets, it's still the opposite, where the demand is higher than the inventory. Therefore, as a veteran looking to purchase a home, you've got more demand and you've got less available inventory. That's tough to compete with. Number three, we still have increased seller resistance when it comes to VA loans. Why? Well, some sellers still think that VA loans are a little more restrictive. They think that the inspection is going to be a little bit more restrictive. They think the appraisal is going to be a little more restrictive. And you know what? In a lot of cases, they're actually right. VA wants to protect us as veterans. So yes, they are a little more restrictive in the condition that a home has to be in, but that is to protect us as veterans. Now, for the most part, most homes are going to do just fine with VA appraisal. Okay, really there is no VA inspection. An inspection is an inspection. However, the VA will require that you have a pest inspection as well. They want to know, you should want to know, are there termites in this home? All right, well, the VA requires it. If you're getting a conventional loan, USA, it's not a requirement. The VA actually requires that as part of the home inspection. So you have to pay for that to make sure that home does not have any type of wood destroying insects. So sellers are a little more hesitant when it comes to VA because they know some of the restrictions that VA has may keep the home from moving forward. So there is some hesitancy when it comes to sellers and VA loans. Now, I'm not gonna get on my soapbox about people shying away from VA. You know, here we are veterans protecting our country, but yeah, we have some sellers that are hesitating when it comes to selling their home to a veteran, more so because of the VA loan. But overall, VA is a great product for us as veterans for sure. And for the most part, we don't really have a ton of issues when it comes to these appraisals and being too restricted to the point where the person can't move forward to purchase their home. Okay, so number four is increased funding fees. Now, the funding fee for a VA loan has increased in recent years, okay? This fee can add a few $1,000s to the cost of the loan if you are required to pay it, okay? I say if because if you have 10% or more disability, you don't have to pay the funding fee. But if you're not 10% or more disabled, you're gonna have to pay a funding fee. Essentially, this is the cost of business for the VA. This is one of the fees that they charge. It typically gets rolled into the loan, but it is a fee that gets charged for using the VA loan. Now, I will say this, guys. The funding fee, by no means should it deter you from getting a VA loan. Yes, there's a fee when you use the VA loan. If you use it a second time, typically that funding fee is going to go down, right? So the multiple uses of the VA loan, you then will see the VA funding fee decrease as you use it more. But the funding fee is not a reason to not use the VA loan. It's minuscule compared to the benefits that we get as veterans. And number 5, changes to the VA loan eligibility rules. Now, recent years, some of the requirements to get the VA loan have changed, which made it a little bit more challenging for veterans to qualify for a VA loan. Now, again, I've done other videos about things that you can do to have yourself prepared to take advantage of this, but one of the things that you want to make sure of is make sure your credit score is still as high as you can be. Although I've mentioned this on many occasions, the VA does not require you to have any specific credit score. It is the lender. With that being said, you still want to have a high credit score if you can get it. What is high, it's relative, right? It's completely relative. 620, 640, 680. It's relative, and it also depends on the lender that you're going with, okay? Again, the company that I work for, we don't have a credit score requirement. But again, that is not a reason to just let your credit go and not worry about it because you think, it's not that big of a deal. I can still get a home loan with the VA. You don't want to just let your credit go because again, it's going to affect other areas of your life. But on the flip side of that, again, VA has 0 requirements for any specific credit score, okay? The other thing is just a short credit history. So this is something that's pretty important and doesn't get talked about a lot, but veterans who've actually served in the military may not have a long credit history. So what does that mean? Just say you just opened up a credit card 3 months ago, or a month ago, or a few credit cards a month ago or 3 months ago. Okay, your credit history is not sufficient for some lenders. I say some because this is not the case for every lender. So credit history and the length of credit is a big part of your credit scoring. Okay, so if you just opened up a bunch of cards recently, that may not reflect in your credit just yet. And even if it does look like you have a 650 or 800 credit score for that matter, but you just opened up your credit cards 3 months ago, some lenders are still going to be a little bit more hesitant because you don't have a long enough history of making payment. Even though the VA is much more lenient than other loans, some lenders still may have some hesitancy in lending because you don't have a long enough track record of repaying debt for them to feel secure in lending you money. But for veterans, just understand we get treated a little different because the VA is a little more lenient with their requirements. But you know, the long credit history, it is important, but it is not something that will just straight up keep you from qualifying depending on who the lender is. The other thing is just past financial problems. I've seen this a lot with some of my clients where they may have had a bankruptcy in the last 3 to 4 years, or even a foreclosure. That alone does not keep you from getting a VA loan. We have to look at the whole picture. Your lender has to look at the whole picture here. So I'm gonna do a foreclosure and bankruptcy video, but just know that having a bankruptcy and foreclosure on your credit alone does not just keep you from qualifying for the VA loan. So if you're a veteran facing challenges in securing a VA loan, I'm gonna give you a few more things that you can actually do to make sure you put yourself in the best position. Number one, get your credit score in shape. I've said it multiple times. Again, VA doesn't have the requirement. Most lenders will have their own, not every lender, but most lenders are gonna have their own requirement for credit scoring. So pay down your debt, guys. Keep the balances low. Ideally, you want to keep it under 30%. I actually suggest you keep it under 20, but 30% or less of whatever your available credit is. So what does that mean? $1,000 credit card limit, you would want to keep that balance under $300. That is the ideal situation that will maximize your credit score. Credit history, okay? You want to build a longer credit history. It's a game, guys. Credit is a game. Credit scoring, it's a game. You can choose not to play it. You can go Dave Ramsey. Just say, I'm not going to worry about my credit score. I personally don't think that's the way to go. I think there's ways to use credit smartly, right? There's a way to use it to where you're not putting yourself in a bad financial position. You're just using it to your benefit, okay? So having a longer credit history is good. It's better. but it is not going to keep you from getting a VA loan just by itself, right? There might be some other factors that are involved, but having a longer credit history definitely helps, okay? Any financial problems, just make sure you're being proactive with getting these things addressed, okay? Proactive. Don't wait until you go apply for a mortgage loan to start looking at your credit. I see this all the time. People have no idea. They haven't checked their credit in years. They have no idea. We pull a credit report, now they've got all kinds of things on there, charge-offs, all kind of stuff. Be proactive, look at your credit report, and if you need help, reach out to a lender to help you. Reach out to me, I will be more than happy to help you as well. And then you just need to make sure that you're working with someone that knows VA, like really knows VA. A lot of lenders are gonna say, oh yeah, we do VA loans. A lot of them say it. A lot of them have no idea really the ins and outs and the nuances of the VA loan. So make sure you're working with someone that really knows what they are doing. So listen, we don't want the VA loan to be a nightmare. It should not be a nightmare, but just understand we have to be proactive in getting ourselves together. Don't expect anybody to just give you anything just because you're a veteran. You take the ball and run with it. You be proactive in taking care of your credit. Again, find someone that can help you. If you need help, reach out to me. I will be more than happy. But improving your credit and lowering your credit utilization is going to give you the best chance of approval to where the VA loan process is not a nightmare. Now, you know that this is only a piece of what you need to know. This next video is going to give you some additional information on what you can do to be prepared for the VA, for the process, get your credit in order, and make sure you are maxing out your VA benefits. I'm James J. I'll see you over there.